How do you do, ladies and gentlemen? What's the real truth about Citizen Kane?
It'll probably turn out to be a very simple thing.
Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. I'm Parker.
I'm Max.
And welcome back to another episode of Better Than Citizen Kane, the highly subjective show where we look at a movie and ask that titular question. Because when every movie ever made is a reasonable contender for the title of greatest film of all time, you have to wonder, Better Than Citizen Kane.
This week we're in a bit of a rush because Parker told me just before we started recording that he got a letter from the king addressed to me. Unfortunately, I can't read, so he'll have to read it to me after the show, but I can't wait to hear it. For now, let's dive into our discussion of Carl Theodor Dreyer's The Passion of Joan of Arc, 1928.
Woohoo.
Got real serious at the end there, Parker.
Yes, yeah, you really brought it down.
Yeah. I just opted for the full middle name because I was like, do I just say Carl Dreyer, T.H. Dreyer?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's one of those
Carl
classic like
Theodor
Crow T
Dreyer
robot, Carl the Dreyer.
Yeah.
Is what I
don't know,
imagine.
I don't know if it's Dreyer or Dreyer. It was inconsistent in the documentary.
Well, I didn't.
It's all right.
I didn't even think about it.
Again, they were
like,
inconsistent in what I watched, so it's fine.
He started the ice cream company later, right? That's him.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Well, he was. The thing is that this project started, and it was initially assigned to Monsieur Jean Blue Bunny. But then it did go to Dreyer's. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I went to Dreyer's. Yeah. So
in the 50s, there was a remake by Ben and Jerry, the Hollywood duo.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, okay, so you're familiar. I don't need to educate you.
Yeah.
Parker, this is your pick, is it not?
Yes. I chose to bring this, which is surprising because diving into my history is I have seen this film. However, I actually went back and marked this most recent watch as just a first watch because I'm like, okay, I watched this when I was like 13 on YouTube. They didn't have it at my local library, but I think it had shown up in some documentary or I'd seen someone talk about it, and I said, oh, I should watch that. Tracked it down on YouTube with a really bad like synth score over the top, and it was the only one I could find that didn't look like absolute garbage. So I did that, and then I ended up just turning the music off halfway through because it was really distracting. And I remember the ending being really upsetting, and I couldn't remember why, and then I rewatched it again. I was like, oh yeah, no, it is wildly upsetting. And I think a la Night of the Hunter, I think I blocked out a lot of that first watch. But I had seen this, and it was one that, you see lots of clip subs, it's in conversation, and so it was one that I was like, oh, Max hasn't seen this yet. We should bring this to the pod. We should talk about it.
Yeah. Yes. No, I mean, that makes sense. I feel like I have that often. Like, last year I rewatched Sound of Music for the first time since I was probably like 10. And I was like, I just feel like I wasn't getting everything I was supposed to get out of this when I was 10.
Yeah.
And this feels like this is me falling in love with this movie for the first time. So I feel like that's what counts. That being said, it was also, weirdly, I realized when I was a kid, when I would watch Sound of Music, it was like a plinky plonky little, like, independently produced synth score. So I was like, that shouldn't count. That shouldn't count. Mm-hmm. It was actually on the same YouTube. I actually went back and I checked. It's the same YouTube channel that you watched Passion of Joan of Arc on.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, it's
Roger
just guy who rescores movies.
Good.
And it's the same score every time, and it's just him diddling on a synth. All right. That was bit number 2. I get one more good one. Mm-hmm. I'm holding space for if I have any bad ones. But I had not seen this before, Parker.
Yes.
I had seen clips of this. As I was watching it, I did have the thought of like, where have I seen, like, you just see clips from this.
Yeah.
Everywhere, I feel like. It'll just be like a shot of first name Marie, right? Maria Falconetti? What's her first name?
Renee Jean Falconetti.
Okay, thank you.
But she went by several different aliases throughout her life.
I'm very curious. I saw that you logged a documentary about this film, and I'm very curious to hear what you learned. But I've seen her face before. I've seen her face plenty of places.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because as far as like, and I know she's like a historical figure, though there are people out there who are like, maybe she wasn't real at all. And I go, all right, let's just let her at least exist.
Yeah, please.
Come on, guys. But like, she is kind of in this, she is akin to a Jesus in a sense,
Yeah.
And I just feel like there isn't like the guy who's played Jesus in a movie that you go, that's Jesus. Like there's been a lot of Jesuses.
Yeah, but there's not
and
a
there've been a lot of Joans of Arc, if you will. And yet I feel this is so firmly the film representation of Joan of Arc.
I think so.
We'll see what Baz Luhrmann has to say. Do you know about that?
No.
Baz Luhrmann is making a Joan of Arc movie.
All right.
And just can't imagine more of a spectrum between this movie and Baz Luhrmann's Joan of Arc
film. Isn't that curious?
Anyway, isn't that interesting? But I'd never seen this before. I after much delay and many texts from Parker being like, so what's going on? You haven't watched this yet? Not in a joking fashion.
Yes, I would have left it alone had Max not originally texted me and said, I'm watching it tonight. And then 3 days went by with other movies showing up in Max's letterbox and me going, so it wasn't you didn't have time to watch movies.
I had a lot going on.
You did have a lot going on, I understand.
Which you know about.
Yes. Didn't keep me from teasing the hell out of you about it.
I know, it didn't. And it's nice that it's black and white, because I'm maybe blushing a little, who knows.
Whoa.
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on.
I received a vision.
Yeah, Max has sainthood,
one. I can't do that one. I can't start that one. I get one good bit. It's not going to be a good bit, that one. So I turned this on yesterday, and I basically cried through the whole thing. Yeah. It's a very affecting movie. My version. So who's the composer of the score that's on the Criterion version?
The one that I have. Let me pull up the name so I've got it exactly. But there's like 3 different scores that get attached to the Criterions.
Is it Mie Yamashita?
Yes.
Yamashita? Yeah.
Yes, that is the one I listened to.
Okay, and that is just attached to the Criterion release at this point. Or is there options? Do you know if there's options on the disc?
I think there's options. I think it's 3 different scores. Okay. It's Voices of Life, it's this one, and then there's one more. There's
an option, I believe, to just watch it silently.
There is the option for that as well.
Okay, I see. Okay.
Let's see. Portishead score is something somebody mentions as well.
Whoa.
Portishead.
Portishead, like the 90s. The 90s band, the 90s rock band.
Yes. Okay, yes. I was like,
rocks. I'm so curious what their score for this movie looks like. That's cool. Mine was Voices of Light. I have like the 90s. I rented the 90s DVD from my library.
Okay, yes.
The 90s Criterion release, and it was just either Voices of Light or a piano score. Voices of Light, from what I understand from the text at the beginning of the movie, it was composed in maybe the late 80s, early 90s, inspired by the film. So it's its own compositional piece that then Criterion added as an option because they felt that both pieces served each other quite well.
Yes.
And in my experience, it really worked. It's large, it's choral, it's I don't want to say bombastic because it's not fun.
Yeah.
But it's grand, and I'm curious to see what this movie feels like with just the single piano score that you watched.
It's like I really, really vibed with it. From what I could find, the Yamashita score is the one that plays like if you stream through the Criterion channel, that's the one that is by default set.
Okay.
And I found it to be really powerful. I liked it quite a bit of just like a single piano underscoring all of this was enough to help set a mood, but also wasn't too intrusive. It didn't feel like it was overbearing to the images.
Yeah. At times, Voices of Light felt a little, maybe not overbearing, but it felt like it was really strongly trying to dictate the feelings.
Like telling you how to feel, yeah.
Which makes sense, because it was an artist's interpretation of the movie's moments and how it made him feel. And then it was layered back over the movie. So, it's not that it didn't match. It's not that it didn't fit. I think it plays very well, but I couldn't help but just be because you texted me what you watched it with right before I started it, and I just kept being like, "Is this bad?" But I think genuinely, I really enjoyed.
I'm glad you watched it that way.
It's worth
a breadth.
It's worth watching because also I kept thinking, I kept thinking about like, well, what is the most ethical way to watch a silent film? Is it with like the assigned score? Is it with nothing? Yeah. And it's like, well, it's not. I understand watching it with nothing, but it's not with nothing.
Because it was rarely
when you would go
with
see
nothing.
it was regularly it was screened with nothing, but like there would be
Right, that's what I'm saying. Is like,
yes.
you would rarely see it without music.
Right, and so I think there is something kind of fun to there being different options for music, because it is like, well, every time you'd go to see it, if you saw it more than once, it would be a different musical piece, probably, right?
Totally.
So, yeah, I mean, I watched it and had a great time, and in the sense that I got something out of it, and cried for most of it. So, and that was a great time. It was a great Sunday. Truly, I finally went back to church.
Watch.
Finally went back to church, and it was Joan of Arc. Okay, so what did you learn, Parker?
Oh boy,
from your documentary watch.
So much. There was a lot packed into this 1 hour, and I won't go over all of it, but like basically, the thrust of this documentary I watched, called Nitrate Flames, it's very, very interesting.
Good
I
title.
Like it quite a bit. Good title. It focuses primarily on Falconetti rather than Joan of Arc. Like, Joan of Arc maybe takes up the first third of the film, and then the rest of it is like, what was her life after this? Some very basic table setting. Falconetti was born dirt poor in Paris. She was put in a boarding school to be away from her abusive father. Was basically raised by nuns who really discouraged her from acting. Like, she knew she wanted to be an actress, and they said, nope, that's the devil's work. You don't want to do that.
Interesting.
Once
because it's lying?
Because it's lying. I don't know. Puritanical values. But once she gets out of boarding school, she becomes involved with a man named Henry Goldstuck, who is a millionaire 30 years her senior. She's
that
working as
sounds like a millionaire's name, doesn't it?
Yes, Henry Goldstuck. Yeah. And he starts supporting her acting career. He makes it possible for her to start getting into venues. She becomes pregnant by him. He wants to marry her. She refuses. She says, nope, I want to be a single mother. I don't care at all for the institution of marriage. But she still remains in her life in a very pivotal way. I don't know that they are emotionally or physically involved, but he is still around as a big presence in her life and is kind of supporting her from the side as it goes.
Okay.
She's working in comedies, musicals, pantomime. Throughout her 20s, she starts having various different love affairs, but ultimately comes back to Goldstuck when everything else kind of crashes through. He's kind of her bedrock. She's accepted to the Comédie Française to train classically, but she really clashes with the tone and the style there and decides to go back to popular theater. This is where we get Dreyer. He comes in. He's actively auditioning actresses for the role. No one's seeming right. He's just like, nothing is quite clicking here. At one point, he really was going after Lillian Gish for the role.
Right, yes, I read about that.
The French public threw a riot when they heard, because they said, no, you will not have an American play Joan. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
So that was shut down very quickly. He starts looking at local French actresses. He's walking down the streets of Paris one night, and he sees a poster up for a comedy play that Falconetti is in at the time. Goes in, watches the performance, doesn't really think much of it, but like goes back to her dressing room afterwards, introduces himself. They set up a tea and coffee meeting for the next day. The next day, she's out of stage makeup, and like all of his quotes about her really fixate on that he's like, I saw the artifice stripped away, like I just saw like, the person underneath.
I mean, that's this movie as well. No one wears makeup in this movie.
And he was a stickler about that, which we'll get into. But so they have this meeting. He brings like a viewfinder with him and is like testing her from different angles. But he says, I'm not going to offer you the part until we do a screen test. So I'm going to come back. We'll do a screen test.
I'm just going to start doing that when I hang out with my friends.
Yeah, just like,
I'm just going to bring a viewfinder and be like, well, how would I shoot you?
How would I shoot you? A real Sammy Fableman type beat. When this is happening, Dreyer has a notorious reputation for being extremely hard on his actors. Like a lot of actresses avoid working with him because he puts people through the ringer to like get an emotion out of you. So they talk about in the documentary that Falconetti convenes what she called her war council. It was a group of friends and family that she would address everything with. She's like, okay, these are big steps in my life. What do we all think of this? And so she comes to them with this. A lot of them really discouraged her from doing this based on his reputation, said, I don't know if this is a great idea, but she was very intrigued by the scope of the project. And they talk a lot about in the documentary how like film is not a serious art form at this point. It's a novelty.
Right.
Like theater has all of the cachet and respect, and film it's a sideshow thing. And for him to be talking, go ahead.
it's a little dangerous as an actor or as a performer to take part in film at this time, just because it's like that could be bad for you. Like that could be bad for your career, let alone the reputation of the guy you're working with. It's like, this isn't an art form yet. This is they might, it's entertainment. It's sideshow stuff, like you said.
Rewinding just a touch, just because I think this is so interesting of like how these things get made. So after the success of the film Master of the House in Denmark, Dreyer was invited to make a film in France by like their film commission, essentially.
Yes.
And they pitched, you can make a movie about any of these three historical figures: Marie Antoinette, Catherine de' Medici, and Joan of Arc. And he decided by drawing matches. There was one match that was longer than the others, and it said, okay, I guess we're doing Joan, which is interesting.
Interesting he didn't opt for the RRR approach, where he just made all three of them best friends, and they, threw
why
motorcycles
not?
around. Why not?
I think we should do all historical
that might be
fiction
Baz
that
Luhrmann's
way.
version. We don't know.
We don't know yet.
Go ahead.
So Falconetti convenes her war council. They talk to her about all of this. But the real kind of deciding factor in her life consistently was she was a very superstitious person, and she would go to fortune tellers and have them do tarot reads about big decisions in her life. Goes to her fortune teller, cards come up good. She says, cool, I'll do the film. So she agrees to do the film.
Interesting.
And there's a lot of really interesting resources. There is a journal that was kept on set by an actor named Robert Souse, who ultimately was cut from the film. He was just an English guard, but he kept like a very detailed journal about his time on the set, where we get a lot of this from, this kind of firsthand experience. So first day on set, Falconetti shows up decked out in furs, fancy jewelry, and from most accounts, it says that she appears to have had little sleep and is kind of disoriented. Dreyer berates her in front of the entire crew. She breaks into tears and just kind of isolates herself for the rest of the day. As the production's ramping up and all this is getting started, they build the set. It was the most expensive set built in France at the time.
Right.
It was designed by Herman Worm, who also did the set design for Cabinet of Dr. Caligari 8 years earlier.
Cool.
Which is kind of fun. And the crew, they talked about how like a lot of people were really worried that you would just never see the set that they built because everything's being shot in close-up. Like that is Dreyer's entire ethos. And his response to that is that he's like, the set is to like evoke a feeling and to give credibility. It's not to be seen. Which I was like, that's interesting.
Interesting. Because I went into this knowing, or I looked, I knew going in somehow that like, it had been destroyed. Like the original print of this was destroyed, and then there was a version where he recut it together using discarded footage.
Yes, yeah, I've got.
Is that the version we have now, or is they found the original print?
The original was found in a mental hospital in Norwegian mental hospital. Yeah, and so that's. I guess
that was the print of the original print.
That is the original.
So the reason that this is like entirely close-ups is not because he was using what he had.
No,
this is.
The version we have available today is the original. Okay. It's just in between there were multiple different versions.
So he fully was just like, the set doesn't need to be seen.
Doesn't matter.
Fascinating.
Which is too bad because I like the set a lot. Like I do when we do get to see it, I think it's really interesting.
And what I'm picking up on is it sounds like Parker was there and saw the set. Are you the actor who was eventually, quote, cut out of the film?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
He was like, yeah, I found this source that was a journal kept by a guy who's not in the movie. I don't know.
So they talk about how there was a particular day on set. Falconetti asks to see Dreyer, but is told to wait. He's individually checking every single actor and extra to make sure no one is wearing any makeup, because they have this brand new turret lens system that allows you to like see the literal pores on people's faces in these close-ups. As you saw in the film, it's crazy some of the close-ups they get. But he's very meticulous about that. So he's busy doing that. She keeps asking for him. She's getting more frustrated. Every time she tries to grab him, somebody else has got his attention or whatever else. She's following him basically back and forth across the set, narrowly trying to avoid. He had dug multiple holes in the set to get the low angles he wanted, a la Citizen Kane. Yes. And it's just, it's a nightmare trying to get his attention. He just won't give it to her at all, which is partially because he's very busy, but partially intentional, which we'll get into. Crew members describe an atmosphere of terror on set, where the actor subconsciously never dropped character, even when not filming, for fear of incurring Dreyer's wrath. So, like, everybody is expected to, like, keep this up constantly.
Oh, no.
It's from all accounts, it is not a great set to be on.
Okay.
There's an account from a man named Max Delacour, who's a friend of Falconetti. He wrote in a letter, quote, "She hated him. She never suffered more than during the making of Joan of Arc. Dreyer, to portray a wrecked woman with a nervous breakdown, made her come to set at 8 a.m. and wouldn't film with her until late in the afternoon. She had to stay ready, sitting on the side for 8 hours." And he was just like, "Yep, you come, you wait, and I'll get to you when I get to you."
You know, you can just, like, ask an actor to perform a feeling.
Yeah.
You don't have to...
You don't have to make
You don't have to literally imprison her.
Yep. And so Falconetti would go home and she would vent to Goldstuck about just how much she was hating this set. Like, she just was having a miserable time. In the middle of all of this, there is an announcement that goes out that another Joan of Arc movie has just gone into production in France, which is Saint Joan. Yeah, Baz Luhrmann's film. It's a film called Saint Joan the Maid, which came out a year later. And that really takes the wind out of everybody's sails of like, oh, geez, okay. And there's another one coming out right after us.
Yeah,
and this,
kind of a Steve Jobs situation for sure.
During the stake burning scene, an electrician is burned by the blaze. And just people start to think that the set and the movie is cursed. Like, just it seems to be a bad time. On one particular day, Dreyer shows up. He closes part of the set off from anyone. Well, first off, he closes the set completely. He says, nobody in or out who isn't, like, friends, family, press, no one in. Like, it is a closed set now. And one day, he calls Falconetti in, not to film, but he wants to show her the footage that they've gotten of her so far from the previous days. And he's quoted as saying, "When she saw herself on screen without makeup, she said she would never ever receive offers for a contract again. Like, she was just mortified looking at herself and just like, oh God, what am I doing? This is a terrible, terrible move for me to be a part of this." Friends and crew members described Dreyer as a sadist who was going to break Falconetti to get a true, real emotion out of her. He always talks about this artifice she has up. And, like, by omission of a lot of her friends and family and their personal accounts, like, she was constantly acting. Like, it was hard to get to know who she was really.
Sure.
But he's obsessing over that to, like, I'm going to strip you down. I'm going to make you miserable to get the misery across completely.
Yeah, sort of an immovable object meeting an unstoppable force.
Yeah.
And yet also not an object.
No. At one point,
that is a person.
Yes. At one point, Falconetti goes to see a production of George Bernard Shaw's production of Saint Joan, and Dreyer is furious. He's so upset. He accuses her of trying to sabotage production, that she's only going to act Shaw's version of Joan and not his. One day, he has the crew put up a screen barrier on set and says no one is allowed on the other side except for him and Falconetti. And they spend hours back there. It's like all day where everybody else is waiting around to film and nothing's happening and nobody knows what's going on behind the other side of this curtain, just that they're not allowed back there. And basically it's just that, like, they're doing the kind of work as we understand it. Like, they're just doing the work that you would do with the director and actor of, like, breaking down, okay, what is the character motivation? Where are you at in this moment? But doing that for hours on end and not letting anybody else come in and just kind of, again, isolating her. He was known to make her repeat scenes 24 times just for like a few seconds of interactions. Like, he was very meticulous about how many takes he would make her do. She broke down in tears and wanted to leave, but he wouldn't let her. After the day was done, everyone else was allowed to leave except her, and the two of them would just go to the screening room and watch back what had been done from the days previous.
God.
And she just starts retreating into herself. Like, she begins a very rough form of method acting. Something clicks and she just completely disappears into Joan. She's not Falconetti. She will not drop character. She just is in this and she will not let it go anytime she's on set. And it, like, friends talk about how like Joan's suffering became Falconetti's suffering and vice versa. Like they informed each other. So she's spending hours on her knees on these stone floors, having to do the opening scene with the inquiry and all of that. There's the shot where, well, first off, whenever Dreyer would finally say they got the shot and they can move on, Falconetti would just burst into tears every single time with just relief of like, oh, thank God, it's done. Let's move on to the next thing. In the scene where somebody spits on her, Dreyer said that she could pick the actor she disliked the least to do it. He's like, you can pick somebody you don't hate to spit on you, and we'll have that guy play this character. And she's like, okay, great. The crew started having a saying, which was that Joan of Arc was murdered twice. The second time was by a Dane.
So really cool set. Really chill
cool
set.
Really cool director.
Parker, are you bringing all of this up because you want me to not like the movie?
No.
Just kidding.
Not at all.
Okay. Man, it's crazy though. It's wild.
Yeah, it's crazy. At a certain point, she really badly sprained her ankle and took like a day off and then came back and was like, no, the pain informs my performance. So just kept on going, doing that. Let's see. So they get to the part where they're going to shave her head. And she had really been hoping that they were going to chicken out, that they weren't going to actually make her do this. But Dreyer felt it was pivotal to the film. She later said that during the shoot, she felt like someone sentenced to death, that she didn't have to play act at all. This was just her life. This is just what it was. And dude, like, and it's so weird because like the documentary tries really hard to like see both sides of it, like tries to not just portray Dreyer as a monster. And they talk about how like during this scene, he's off camera coaching her and saying like, it'll grow back, it'll be okay. And then when they call cut and they're finished, he walks up to her, he takes some of the tears from her cheek on his finger and he brings them to his lips, whatever the hell that is. It's like, okay, cool.
You know what he would have loved? He would have loved those water bottles that are like, I drink actors' tears. You know, like,
he would have been sporting one of those t-shirts.
You know, he would have got that on Etsy.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, he's just like, some wild shit, man. And he told her, like, you know, she wrote him a letter that week saying, like, just how sad she was having to sacrifice her hair and, like, how that was, like, very particularly attached to her idea of womanhood and femininity and her career and all these things. And he's like, hey, I'm sorry. I do hope you're happy with the finished film. I hope that the finished film makes this all worth it for you. And she saw a rough cut of the film some weeks after, and she hated it. She said that she felt nothing of her was on screen, only Dreyer. Like, Joan on screen was not her. It was Dreyer's performance through her, is how she felt about it. And they point out in the documentary, Dreyer's filmography has a fixation on the suffering of women ever since the early days of his career, which like is just something to note of just like he keeps coming back to these female martyrs and really likes to just watch actresses break down on camera. Yeah. Let's see. The premiere.
Wow, what a bummer.
Yeah, God. The premiere goes very well.
That's so light. I'm sorry. I'm trying to like
I understand.
Keep this so we don't just like. I'm not just being like, what a bummer.
Yeah.
I'm like, trying to salvage this because I want to talk about the things I love about this movie, and so I'm trying to like not delve too deep. Like, I'm not saying you're doing that. Yes. I'm just like in my head. I'm like, is it insensitive to then be like, really good? You know, like good performance. No, because
like it's like there's
still
stuff.
Her work.
There's stuff from later in her life that I feel like salvages the connection to her work a bit. But so premiere goes very well. Critics really enjoy it. Audience at the time, like there at the premiere, loves it. That is the last time Falconetti and Dreyer ever see each other. Yeah. Like they do not speak again. Yeah. She never makes another film. Hated the whole experience. Just retreats back into theater. From there, the film isn't much of a success. Critics like it, audiences don't show up. When the film comes to France, it's censored and banned in certain regions and other countries. They have to chop a bunch of it up. Still, audiences aren't showing up. A year later, the other Joan film comes out, St. Joan the Maid, and it is, by all accounts, a cliche propaganda film
Right.
of just like, this is the story of Joan of Arc, and it's a huge success. People just love it.
Of course.
And so it just completely removes this from the cultural conversation. A fire destroys the original negative of the film, forcing Dreyer to make a new cut using alternate takes that were not used in the original. That second negative is also lost in a different fire. And the film basically just like disappears.
So what I'm hearing is it was cursed.
It was cursed. Like, genuinely, like that's
the entire production was cursed.
Like.
Yeah.
So we'll wrap up the story of the film, and then I'll give you some stuff about Falconetti as well. So at a certain point in the 40s or 50s, I couldn't find exactly when this was. The film gets reconstructed by 1952. There's a copy found of the second version negative. There's a guy named Joseph Marie Leducan, and he edits the whole film. He makes several changes. He adds a Baroque score, puts a bunch of new inner titles, adds a lot of like religious imagery of like tapestries and stained glass windows, and just keeps cutting this stuff in. And Dreyer hates it. And he's like, please take this version out of circulation. Like, this isn't my film. But like, that version is what gets people talking about Joan of Arc, the Passion of Joan of Arc again, is this bastardized version. And then what happens in the late 70s, early 80s, in Belgium, I think it said, there is a massive fire at a movie house that destroyed a bunch of nitrate film negatives, and we lost a bunch of movies. And that put the film community into a panic about, okay, we need to find nitrate film. It's reached the point where it is extremely volatile. Like, we have to save these films. And through that, in 1981, a janitor found 3 film canisters in a closet he was cleaning in a Norwegian mental institution. Canisters were sent to the Norwegian Film Institute, where they were stored for 3 years before finally being examined. They just put them in a vault, and they said, just leave them. Finally opened it up, and lo and behold, it's Dreyer's original cut. All of it. Like, prior to the censorship,
prior to anything. What does that moment feel like?
Right?
You
like,
that's the person to find that.
That's gotta be nuts.
Wow.
Yeah. It was still in the 1928 packaging, which was addressed to the director of the hospital, because he was a Francophile, and he also loved films, and so he would show films to the patients there a lot. Yeah. And at some point, somebody had sent him a copy of this. It's like, oh, hey, films and Francophile, here you go. And that's the version we have today, is that copy that was just sitting in a basement at a mental institution, which is crazy.
I wonder how this played to a mental institution.
That's a great question.
How did this play to people who were probably likely being
who knows?
Mistreated by an institution.
So jumping back to Falconetti, Falconetti goes back to theater full force after the film, never touches film again. She didn't view Joan as the pinnacle of her career, but many other people did, and history kind of bared out that it was. Goldstuck was seriously injured in a car accident. She canceled everything she was doing at the time to take care of him, but he died shortly after, leaving her all of his money. She takes all of his money. She opens a theater for herself. She's like, I want to play roles that I'm not going to play other places. And the other places aren't producing these plays because they're not going to be commercially viable. They're saying, look, they're not sound investments. So she's like, nope, screw you. I have my own theater. I can do whatever I want. So she mounts like 4 plays in the season. All of them fail. Just flop after flop after flop.
I mean, if you aren't being cast, and you choose solely plays that aren't commercially viable.
Yep. And it's also something like throughout her life.
Props to that, though.
Totally. Like, she's trying.
That is very admirable.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because friends talk about how when Goldstuck was
alive. Art doesn't have to be profitable, guys. No. Sorry, Parker. Keep going. Just wanted to make that clear.
Just want to put that out there. But like when he was alive, she had pitched this idea of a theater to Goldstuck, and he said, honey, you're terrible with money. Like you have no sense of money. Your money comes from me, and it came from other people. Like, to the point that later in her life, we'll get to it, but like there's a point where she has reached rock bottom, and people in the community are paying her rent, and she doesn't know it because she doesn't pay it herself. She just thinks it gets taken care of. Like that's just the world that she was living in from, when you're the mistress of a millionaire at 18, yeah, you never have to figure out what money is, you know?
Yeah.
And so that was a big part of this, is that she keeps trying these commercial ventures and they just don't go anywhere because she doesn't have any sense for how to invest money and how to get it back on these commercial products and all these different things. She keeps pouring money into the theater until it goes bankrupt. She falls into deep depression. Her creditors start coming after her saying, hey, you owe us all this money. They call her into a debt settlement. And she, like, people, the tabloids at the time compared it to Passion of Joan of Arc, where they're like, yeah, she was supposed to be there to sign this paper, and she said she was going to do it. And then she decided, nope, actually, I'm not going to do it. And she ran away to Switzerland. She's like, you can't get me in Switzerland. I'm leaving. And so she fled. While she's in Switzerland, she's throwing parties, gambles nearly everything away. She has to go back to theater just to make ends meet. She comes back to her war council. Okay, what am I going to do? And they tell her, everybody wants to see you do Joan again. So do Joan. And so she mounts a stage play of Joan of Arc. She wants to wear one of the original costumes she wore in the film, but it doesn't fit her anymore, and she spirals out about that. The play flops. It doesn't go well. She disappears after that. She vanishes from public life. She was ostensibly done with acting in 1935. She tried launching a singing career, didn't really go well. She bounced around Europe for a while, just picking up gigs as she went. Eventually, she decides that she is going to leave, so she goes to Brazil in May of 1942. Not much is known about her at that time, but she keeps popping up in these different places. There's a film screening that goes on there of a particular celebrated Brazilian film at the time, where reportedly she met Orson Welles. And somebody introducing them.
I'm back in.
You're back in.
I'm back in.
Someone introducing them, supposedly the way he introduced them was Citizen Kane, meet Joan of Arc.
Whoa.
And Wells was particularly very moved by talking to her and had been a fan of, the film.
Yeah. He said, I like the way that they dug holes in the ground.
That's a good. I like that. Digging holes. She leaves Brazil, once again gambles away everything she owns, and then she arrives in Argentina. She goes to Buenos Aires, and there's a very prominent community of the French there, and they embrace her. These people kind of make the last chapter.
What year is it at
life.
This point?
This is 1943.
So the film hasn't even been found again yet.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, this is just like, and these people know her off of reputation from the first time it came out. It's still 20 years later. It's still, well, not even. I guess it's like 15 at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When did she die?
She died 1946.
Oh, okay. So we've reached.
This is the
end.
final chapter for life.
Okay.
So she's there in Buenos Aires. This French community really rallies around her. She starts becoming like the highlight of the social community there, because everybody knows her as Joan of Arc. Like that is what people know her for in the French community. She attempts to work with local artists, but she keeps demanding top billing, so none of the bigwig theaters will put her in, because they're like, you're not top billing anymore. I'm sorry, like you're not. She starts working with more indie artists, trying to get things mounted. She stages 4 more shows there, doesn't make any money back. And this is where she's once again broke. This community is paying her rent and she doesn't even like catch it, because she's just here. She's like, her friends described her as like, her friend Max in a letter talked about how like she was akin to one of those great 18th century starlets, somebody who was vapid and ethereal and could cancel a performance on a dime and everybody would have to get refunded because she wasn't feeling going on. Like she carried herself in that very classical theatrical diva way all throughout her life. And so while she's working, she's here, she starts working as a French teacher to like the nobility in the area, mostly because they can say that their children are being taught by Joan of Arc. That's kind of the cachet that she has at the time. She plans to leave Argentina for Mexico, but the boat leaves without her. She misses it, and she never uses her visa. And she talks about, like, well, she doesn't talk about, but people in her life talk about that, like, during this period of time in her life, Jesus, that having so many people recognize her as Joan this many years later, when she doesn't feel herself, she doesn't, you know, she felt very self-conscious about her weight at this time and all these things, that buoyed her through a lot of this, was just that, okay, they may not have seen me performed on the stage, but somehow, some way, this really, really awful experience I went through has left an impact on people, and people have seen me and know me from that, and maybe that's enough, is kind of how it seems she felt by the end. Ultimately, though, she'd been struggling with pretty undiagnosed depression, from what it sounds like, for most of her life. She basically just starves herself to death. A doctor is called. She refuses any help. She doesn't want help. She just is done. And so she passes away in 1946 at the age of 54. She's buried there in Buenos Aires. And then some years later, her body is moved back to France, where it's cremated and has like a specific burial site there. And the final note that the documentary leaves on, which I find interesting, is that they talk about how some years later, Dreyer was in Paris promoting some film. And while he was there, Falconetti's daughter said that it was reported that he went and left flowers at Falconetti's gravestone there in Paris. And the documentary tries to leave on this note of like, and actually their working relationship wasn't so bad. They were just two artists trying to like make something.
Yeah.
And I kind of took a step back.
Everything about that guy seems to say that he was not doing that. And
I don't think he was
just
doing
a monster. Just the classic case of the egoist director who thinks he can break people just to get a better performance, when actually actors are good at their job.
Yeah. Isn't that wild to see that's happening forever?
Can we talk about Passion of Joan of Arc?
Yes, please.
No, I genuinely, like, I find that so interesting, and it honestly reminds me of when we talked about at the top of this year, Meshes of the Afternoon in Atland. Like, Maya Deren's life is so interesting, and just kind of these women who create art that is so influential, and then the rest of their lives in the 20th century are so fascinating, and ultimately they both kind of wound up starving themselves to death in the mid-20th century. And it's very interesting. And also, not every time I wanted to be like, oh, just like in Joan of Arc, you're like, and everyone was aware that this felt like Joan of Arc. I'm like, damn, like everyone. Yeah. But like even her being cremated in a sense.
Yeah. Like it's one of those, like the reason I wanted to devote this much time to Falconetti is just because this is her once, like she had done a short before this. This is her one surviving film performance, and it's transcendent. Like that's the thing I'm not covering, and which we'll get into when we get into Criterion stuff, is like people love this going on. Like Pauline Kael said this was one of the definitive performances on film, period.
It is.
Like, and I wanted to highlight,
to give her moment,
just to give her a moment of like, look, this is somebody who isn't, like, not a lot is known. Like you pull up her Wikipedia page and a lot of this stuff from the documentary isn't put in here, despite it being firsthand accounts. It's letters and journals and like people who knew her talking about all this stuff. But it is, she is someone who feels like a bit of an enigma in the film conversation. And out of my distaste for Dreyer as a person, I wanted to take a lot of time highlighting her and then get into all the things we love about the film.
Okay, well, I mean, I wasn't going to come into this being like, Dreyer is the reason this movie works. I mostly only clocked his middle name being a TH. Have
you seen any of his other stuff?
What's his other stuff?
I've seen Vampire. That's the only other film of his that I've seen. It's also a Criterion release.
I'm familiar with it. I have not seen it.
I've seen Vampire. It's fine. Like, I thought it was fine.
He also directed When Harry Met Lloyd, right? The dumb
That's right, yeah. I didn't know that.
Well, that's the one I'm familiar with. his later work.
Oh, that's funny.
I mean... Thank you for sharing that story. I don't want to seem like I'm trying to poison what you presented.
No, not
you
at
gave
all.
me this beautiful chalice that ties into what we're talking about, and I don't.
Yeah,
want
but
it
it's
to
kind of a
look at it
sucky
as
chalice to look at. You're like, oh man.
I'm like,
No, I get it. No,
I want to talk about the concept of drinking, which I guess is how I would. No, okay. Metaphors aside.
Yes.
Bits aside. I had a question for you. What was it? So what's your knowledge and familiarity with the historical figure of Joan of Arc, Parker?
Pretty minimal. I know
Okay.
of her. I know the general thrust of the conflict between France and the English at the time.
Yes.
But I'm not terribly
so
invested.
she's born to poverty in France, a small country town province in France, and in 1428 she testifies of visions of the Archangel Michael and a couple of saints, and she requests to be taken to Charles the Seventh, who at this point is not king because the English are here. The English have occupied France, is my understanding. And basically he is just like, yeah, I believe you. Great. And she is sent to, Orleans, as part of a relief army, where she encourages the French to aggressively pursue the English. Basically arrives and is just like a massive morale boost that, and continued to be so to the point that like basically she, even though her death happened so early, she like her influence does contribute to the French ultimately like making it through the 100 Years' War.
Yeah.
Right. Like that is something that she is accredited with. And so after Charles' coronation, at that point it's like, well, she really pushed for me to be made king. She takes part in the siege of Paris in September of 1429 and the siege of La Charité. Charité? God, my French is so rusty. Parker.
It's better
I'm
than
terrible.
mine.
Yeah, I didn't even try any of it until now, and now I'm regretting it. And both of those sieges failed. So people kind of are like, is she really what she says she is? But in early 1430, she organizes volunteers to relieve Compiègne, besieged by Burgundians, which are French allies of the English, traitors to the French.
Okay.
And she is captured by Burgundians in May, handed to the English in November of 1430. At which point, she's put on trial on accusations of heresy, including blaspheming by wearing men's clothes and acting upon demonic visions, etc. And that's where the movie starts, which I had no idea.
And I hadn't mentioned this, and I'm glad you brought it up
Yeah.
here. Of like the script is based on the minutes from those trials.
Yes.
It's condensed, but it is those minutes.
I mean, that's how the movie opens, right? Is that brief section that's like someone turning all these pages in a book in text that says, you can go to this place, you can read the accounts, you can read the direct words, the minutes of this, and that is what this movie is. Which I really wasn't expecting. I didn't know what to expect from this movie. I didn't expect that it was going to be mostly... I mean, I guess if you only see clips of Falconetti as Joan of Arc, you can expect that. But it truly is just her on trial, which is very interesting. I didn't know.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I'm flipping through papers.
You're good.
Do you have anything you want to say about the start of the movie, Parker?
Just, I find the framing device interesting. Like, I
Yes.
like the flipping of the pages and kind of setting up what this is and giving it historical context, especially considering it's my I don't know if everybody's this way, but like my personal interaction with history, I always get boggled by like timelines and how close things are together and like the immediacy of things of like talking about Joan of Arc's cultural influence in France. Like, she is canonized as a saint in 1920. And that's what kind of incentivizes the film to get made, which is just fascinating that, like, again, she's had a very pronounced impact.
In the middle there, between her execution, so she's executed, she's burned at the stake in May 30th of 1431. And in 1456, an inquisitorial court overturns that verdict. They go, well, that was tainted by deceit and procedural errors. And I go, okay, so
cool,
even your guys' like rejection of this is still very like, well, it wasn't, there was some mischief afoot. And then it's post-French Revolution that she becomes a national symbol of France. So, that's assuming it's the French Revolution I'm thinking of, late 1700s, right?
There's a few.
And
of
then
them.
in 1920 she's canonized, and in 1922 she is declared a patron saint, as you said.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we're picking up when she's on trial.
Yeah.
What do you think? I mean, we've talked a lot about Falconetti,
Mm-hmm.
and especially her life, and especially her as a person. She is double the age of Joan of Arc in this film. She is 36 at the time of filming of this, and I don't see it at all.
No, it's like it's remarkable how transformative her performance is in that regard. Like there is something about like her eyes that just have,
and I have thoughts about that.
Yeah, like this wild sense of youth about them,
mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah, and I find it so interesting, like obviously for societal and cultural reasons, and also just it sounds like who she was. Falconetti's reaction to seeing herself without makeup is she's like, well, this will ruin me. This is terrible. This is awful.
Yeah,
and I
for
go,
somebody living under artifice.
And I go, you're 36 and you're not wearing makeup, and I don't see your age at all in you. Like if there is weariness, the weariness is of Joan of Arc.
Yeah.
Who is, who has been at sieges and battles and is like carrying the weight of God and your country on your shoulders. Mm-hmm. And like it's I was thinking about when we talk about Little Women, and it's like, well, Florence Pugh is playing an 11-year-old, and that's kind of, you just have to look over that. And I go, with this, I don't have to look over that at all.
No,
she says they ask, how old are you? And she says, I'm 19, I think. Mm-hmm. And that, even just that, and I don't know how directly this is adapted from the minutes, but like that being said by this woman at this moment is also so emotional to me. Of just like, I'm 19, I think. Like, mm-hmm. I don't know. It's fascinating. And I text you about this movie, and I'm like, what if I show up tomorrow spiritually reborn? And you're like, I have bad news about the Catholic Church. And I'm like, I forgot this was about Catholicism, Parker. I was so caught up in her belief in God and her fundamental being of like a messenger from God that I believe that she was.
It's a remarkably
and I don't believe in God anymore.
Yeah, it is.
And
it
yet
is
still
remarkably...
I'm like, Joan of Arc was sent by God. I do believe that.
Sure. Yeah, like it is remarkably religious, like a religious experience to watch the film, despite like, again, it is about Catholicism, but it doesn't feel that way. It just feels like there is something about the way that she performs in this that just, like the whole time, it feels like, she's seeing the face of God right now. And I buy it. Like, I believe it every single time.
What I've written here is, I also thought about, remember when we covered Akira on this show, like 2 or 3 years ago? And we were like, oh, this is like if God, or like in both of our Letterboxd reviews, you alluded to God. Mm-hmm. You're like, crazy that they had the power of God in their pencils. And I was like, I feel like I just saw an angel. like I watched it like 1 a.m. This is how that's how this movie feels to me as well. Like totally. Akira is capturing the power of God in ink and paint.
Yeah.
And this, I'm like, I 100% believe the entire runtime that God is in Joan's eyes. Like he is in like his like the light of Christ,
which
is
like
coming out of her eyes. She's weeping it.
Steering away from Dreyer a little bit. Like honestly, I think that is such a marriage between Falconetti's performance and the work of cinematographer Rudolph Mate, who, by the way, he was nominated for Best Cinematography at the Academy Awards 5 years in a row. Just like boom, 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 boom. Like this dude was, he was moving.
Okay, I'll have to look at his filmography. I'm very curious. It's a performance that is simultaneously unsettling. Like, at base level animal instincts captivating of it's like watching Akira and being like, I'm seeing God.
Yeah.
I'm seeing the face of God and I'm uncomfortable a little bit about it. And it's also extremely moving.
Yes.
Like it is so moving, and yet also there is this level of me feeling unsettled.
Well,
yeah.
When I watched this when I was like 12 or 13, it like scared me. Like it was like, I just felt, I was like, I don't know what to do with all of this. Like, it's just really overwhelming. And that feels scary to me.
Imagine being 13 and seeing an angel who's like, do not be afraid. You rented me at the library.
You found me on YouTube. Be not afraid.
Be not afraid, I'm a YouTube video. But that's how it feels. It's an overwhelmingly spiritual experience. And like, yes, I do fundamentally believe that art is a spiritual thing. You know, if I have any sense of spirituality, it is the interconnectedness of people, and it is the interconnectedness of art. Like, and film in particular is the art form that I love because it can bring an entire group of people to the same conclusion.
Yeah.
At the same time through moving images and sound and light. And like, if cinema is inherently spiritual to me, yeah, I'm gonna cry when I'm watching this movie.
Yeah.
And so I just had to let that pour out of me for a second. Thank you, Parker, for meeting me where I was at.
Absolutely.
What do you think about these other guys' faces?
I mean, like, expressive as hell. Like, they got some really nice, craggy really nice old men in here. You know, there's some good lines in here.
Like the blacks of the cinematography, like the shadows just like so deep in like the bridges of their noses. It's crazy.
I like
they look like the zombies from Paranorman.
Yeah, they do actually. I hadn't made that connection, but you're right. Something about this opening sequence involving some of these faces, but like watching it this time, like there's that tracking shot where it moves through the courtroom behind the pew of people, and there's the pillars
and the hands
and the hands and people. Yeah, and I'm like
in different shapes and forms.
Yes, and I'm like I'm looking at this. I'm like, how is this being done in 1927? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. And there's also this very particular choice that they do that I think starts showing up here at the beginning and then comes back repeatedly of like putting the camera on like a swinging pendulum, like going in and out is such an odd choice.
So like, I mean, the one that stood out to me the most with the pendulum shot, which is, I don't know if I've seen before. It feels like, you know, a Sam Raimi type would have done that at some point. But like when it's looking up the tower, when post, you know, the burning and the revolt has happened, and it's swinging back and forth as like guards drop maces down out of a window. Fascinating choice.
It's so interesting.
And like, I think what's really interesting to me about how this was shot is like, it's like we mentioned earlier, it is a lot of close-ups. It's a lot of extreme close-ups of faces that are either God's face or sculpted out of clay. Is what everyone in this movie is. It's either you are Joan of Arc, you are the face of God, or you are a little claymation man. Created by Leica Studios to give kids a little scare. I find the close-up so fascinating because it never feels small.
No.
Still, like, it doesn't feel like... And when I was watching this, you know, wondering, is this the original version that is lost, or is this the second cut of like, was there wide shots that he lost in a fire that he couldn't use? And now knowing that that's not the case, it's very interesting of like the close-ups never really let up. They don't go away, but when Joan is killed and we get this mini riot, this revolution, that feels all the more grand despite not being shot that grandly. There's a few tricks, like the pendulum with the tower. There's that POV "you are the cannon" shot, which is just a crazy thing to throw in there really fast. It's just like, and also, I could have been doing this the whole time. And I go, okay.
All right,
like,
sure.
And yet that is such a choice. It's a very direct choice.
It's a break in form that works so well.
It is. Yeah, and it's the breaking of the form, and like we've understood what this movie looks like up to this point. And with Joan's death, it's like, well, now there's going to be a little bit more pandemonium. The structure of how we're shooting this is going to change. Not to give Dreyer any credit, hate that guy, but it's well done.
It's what we've talked about.
Well
of like
executed.
Like I can't remember who said it, but like when all the Neil Gaiman stuff came out, I saw someone online talk about how they're like, hey, unfortunately, terrible people can be great artists too. Like, I don't know what to, like, it sucks so bad, and, like, we have to navigate that, but, like, it is a fact, and, like, putting all of my disdain for this guy and everything I've learned about him on the table, there is also some very competent directing going on here. Like, there are choices going on here that I'm like, yeah, I got it. There's a reason we're still talking about the movie, and it's, I think most of that pie goes to Falconetti, but, like, like, there is directing choices going on here that are influencing of that.
Yeah. Yes. for sure. I mean, it's just. I was just kind of in a bit of a trance for most of it, and even the pace of the edit is so interesting because oftentimes it will be on a close up of a person, and we won't stay very long. Like it's a lot of quick reaction shots, turning of the head from Joan, and then we'll get like a sweeping shot across a banister or whatever to see all the different judges who are like kind of bemused by what she's saying, but. The pace of it feels so interesting to me because I kept thinking about watching it because it doesn't have a score. And not that movies are cut to music. They're not most of the time. But like this had some sense of rhythm that I think also contributed to feeling unearthly to me.
Yeah, I can see that.
A little bit. Like it's not like it's experimental. It's not doing anything like that, but it just felt like it was so sure of its rhythm in a way that I found fascinating, especially with a score that was, that is not the chosen score for it. It made that stand out more to me. I don't know.
I totally get what you mean. And like, I don't know if I have the proper verbiage for it, but like when you compare the editing in this to something like Metropolis or Nosferatu, or even like, some of the comedies of the time, like it is distinct in its style for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the other thing that's going to be tricky about this is what does a summary of this movie look like?
Right, and that's, I think talking about, like, I think we can hit, like, the basic plot beats very quickly and then work our way through that of, like, what are your favorite moments within all of that, I think is probably the best approach.
So after having led the French and Numerous battles, as I mentioned, she is on trial for heresy, right? So it's May 30th, she's being interrogated, her judges are on the side of the Burgundian English coalition and against the King of France. And they're trying to make her say something that will discredit her claim or shake her belief, right? Yeah. So they basically just keep being like, did God tell you you've spoken with God?
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah. You've spoken with the angel, with Saint Michael?
You saw Michael? Was he naked?
Like?
Was he
a man? What did he look like? Did he have long hair?
Yeah.
And I love when she's like, well, why would he need to cut it? And it's just like, yeah. If I was there, I would have been like, she's got a point. There is that one guy, when they do go back across all the hands, there is that one guy who's like very
very hesitant. And before that, you get the guy who like throws himself at her feet and is like, I believe her. I like then what you're doing here is abysmal. It's disgusting.
Yes. And so one or two of them believe that she is indeed a saint. And they support her. And they're just basically they're really, questioning her on, why don't you wear women's clothes? Because that is a major part of the heresy that she's so... I love how, again, like if we provided you with women's clothes, would you wear them? And she says, like, well, when God's mission for me is over, I will wear a woman's clothes again. And I just believe it. I'm just like, this is... Yeah, you're on a mission from God. It's real. It's true. So the authorities then are like, all right, we got to deceive her. Let's get devious.
Yeah,
forge a letter. So they forge a letter. I love that they're just like, do you know the king's signature? Do you have a letter with the king's signature on it? Okay, good. So a priest comes in. I find this priest so interesting, but he comes in and he reads a false letter to her because he gives it to her.
Yeah,
and she's like, I can't read. And he's like, okay, well, it says, to trust in the bearer.
Well, he specifically comes in when the guards are accosting her. They're stealing her ring, and he backs them off and gives her ring back. And he's like, hey, you can trust me. I'm your friend.
Yes, yeah. He's not, though.
No, he's not.
He's working with the deceiving team, the team of deception.
Yes.
And when that fails to, like, kind of break her, right, she doesn't really buy it, really.
Yeah.
She's taken to view the torture chamber. And she faints. That's a wild sequence in which we just watch spikes spin so fast.
And like when I'm looking at this, I'm like, what is this torture device? Like, do you put her against it and it just like moves? Like my brain isn't comprehending the logistics of it, but my gut is like freaking out of like, oh, that's terrifying. That's so
I would
scary.
imagine she stands far enough away that it doesn't catch in her, but it's like constantly cutting into her.
That
would
make sense. Yeah.
And that's why it gets up to such a high speed.
Right.
Me, I know my torture device.
Oh, excuse me. I should have come to the expert.
No. I know nothing about spikes on a big wheel. I know nothing about that. Don't even ask me about it. And so then, she faints. They take her out of the room. She comes to, and they're like, we're gonna have to burn you at the stake.
Yeah,
right?
and there's this really duplicitous like military authority who's like, do not let her die. Like, she doesn't die until I say.
I mean, talk about RRR. That guy's straight out of RRR.
Truly, yeah. He's got some big Governor Scott
evil
vibes.
British guard with a dumb hat and just like, I want to see some messed up stuff.
Yeah.
The judge then condemns her to life. Okay, right. So they threaten her with the burning at the stake, and she breaks, and she allows a priest to guide her hand. It's the priest that was, lying to her earlier. Yes. Which is interesting to me because then it's like, well, now he's helping her tell a lie, right? He guides her hand in signing a confession. The judge then condemns her to life imprisonment. They shave her head. They put her in the cell. And then you just get this moment of just her realizing what she's done and being like, no.
Yeah, actually, I can't go out like this.
And saying like, okay, well, tell them. And that's what she.
That's what she says. I can't go out like this.
She says, I can't go out like this. There's only one way to go out, she says.
Singing.
How's that? Singing. All right.
That she turns into a Robert Zemeckis
nightmare. Is that the one good bit? Is that the one good bit I had? All the rest before this weren't that good. So she demands that the judges return, and she recants her confession. And more around her begin to recognize her true faith and calling, is what this summary says. Yeah. She's permitted a final communion mass. Again, she's just feeling all of this, and so therefore I am as well. Then dressed in sackcloth and taken to the place of execution. And this is what, like, I knew her in this. Yeah. I knew her in the sackcloth. Right? That's where I'd seen the images of this from before. I mean, she helps the executioner tie her bonds.
Yeah, that small little moment. Ugh.
Yeah. And the crowds gather and the fire is lit, and as the flames rise, the women weep and a man cries out, "You have burned a saint." What this summary is skipping over is it is the longest and most horrific, realistic fire slowly rising to her.
God.
And then the swap out for
the dummy.
The body. is so upsetting. Yeah. And it looks real.
It's really well done. I don't know what it was. I couldn't find any details on it.
When you see, like, self-immolation as a form of protest, and if you've ever seen pictures of that, this is very well done, and it's very upsetting, and that got me going again. I was crying. Jeez, man.
It's
and the troops prepare for a riot, and as the flames consume her, the troops in the crowd clash, and people are killed. And it just kind of, they raise the drawbridge. Yeah. And then, like, a subtitle says, "The flames protect her soul as it rises to heaven." And that is the passion of Joan of Arc. That is what happened. And it's incredibly affecting, and it's incredibly emotional. Let's talk about some of our. What do you have anything from, like, the first half?
There's a shot.
I have something a little later.
There's a shot early on where the bars of her window have a shadow of a cross on the floor, and, like, her moment with that is, like, deeply affecting to me. And I just think, like,
later, someone walks into the cell and they block it out.
Yes,
they blot it out. They darken it.
Yes.
Just really good.
Really, really great visual imagery there.
Yeah. The moment I want to, it's not a shot, but the moment I want to talk about that is not in this summary, is that man, that handsome young man, as handsome as you can be when the top of your head is shaved and you just have, like, a halo of hair around your head. He comes in and he's like, "So what of your great victory?" Yeah. You said that God said you would have a great victory and that you would be delivered. And he's like, "What about your great victory?" And she pauses and she says, "My martyrdom." And he says, "And your deliverance?" And the exact way in which Falconetti plays this moment of, like, it's a longer pause, her face is fallen, and yet it's not crestfallen. Yeah. It, like, falls into a reasoning. It falls into an acceptance, and it falls into something that is so true. And I mean, it sounds like the actress herself genuinely felt she was going to death. Yeah. But that is the moment that really just, like, I was just overwhelmed with emotion seeing her accept this and then say my death.
Yeah.
Like, her deliverance is death, and that is her returning to God. And then she gets to come up from that a little bit and, like, you know, accept it a little bit. I don't know if it's not like she gets into higher spirits, but, like, it's just, there's just that moment that I just felt was so powerful and really affected me. And
totally.
I don't know. It makes me, you know, it makes me understand religion a little bit more. Like, if I felt that way hearing a religious story, then I'd, you know, and this is in the sense a religious story, but
sure.
I don't know. You get what
I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah.
That's
the moment.
Yeah, I love that. Something that's like sprinkled throughout all of this is I find it so fascinating that, like, and maybe, I don't know, maybe you'll disagree with this, Reed, but what I interpret it as is, like, it seems like there are many kinds of emotions that Falconetti plays throughout all of this. We get transcendence, we get hope, we get fear, we get despair, you know,
resistance,
all of these things. And I find it interesting that, like, they allow moments for her to be, like, deathly afraid for her life, like, and to be fearing in that way. But it feels like anytime she sheds tears, when these enormous eyes of hers well up and they just start to pour, is always in moments of transcendence. It's never in moments of being afraid. I don't recall her crying out of fear of death, only like looking up at the sky and just being touched.
It feels like transcendence, and also it feels, you know, you could read, because some of those moments of transcendence I feel coincide with the judges directly saying, like, no, you have seen the devil. Like, you are following the devil's visions. You are not of God. You are not a good person. And when she's crying about that, it doesn't feel like she's like, that hurts my feelings to hear that.
Right.
It feels very Christ-like in the sense that she is crying for them.
Yeah.
And crying for, you know, like, I think she is like, you're not understanding me. You're not understanding what I am here to do.
Right.
Like, she does have more human. I think she has plenty of human moments of fear, like you said. But I think even even within the transcendent moments, she's playing something alongside it as well, right?
Agree.
Like, transcendence is a note that she is often hitting sustained.
Yeah.
Which is what's really impressive about it. And then within that, there's, like, slight variations of, like, what she's responding to while in that state.
Yeah.
Which is so interesting. I think you're absolutely right.
And you talking about her resistance reminds me of another one of my favorite moments of just, like, the fire she gets in the torture chamber where she calls these guys out. She's like, no, I refuse. Like, do what you're going to do. I don't care. Like, I am not going to recant what I've seen and what I know. Is really powerful to me. I think is just genuinely effective.
There's also that moment where at some point someone says, like, you're going to die alone. And she's like, yes, I will die alone. Alone with God. Like, alone, with God.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know. Maybe it's just, like, seeing someone so certain of their standing.
Yeah, just, like, so strong in her convictions, I think.
Yes. It's very moving.
It's incredibly moving.
And in this discussion, I feel I just keep alternating between whether I'm talking about Falconetti or Joan of Arc herself.
Yeah, truly. They feel so closely entwined in that way.
They do.
My favorite shot in the movie, and it's the backdrop I have on my Letterboxd, is this low angle kind of Dutch tilt as they're taking her out and they hand her a crucifix. And she clutches the cross to her with the stake and, like, her condemnation paper hanging above her in, like, the upper right of the frame. And just, like, that composition feels like a Renaissance painting to me. Like, it felt transcendent to look at. And just, like, the emotion she has, the subtlety of the way she cradles it to her body. And just, like, this is, like, the one time we've seen her have anything to latch onto. Like, she's got her crown,
a physical comfort.
Yes.
Yes. Like, so much of it is her feeling comforted in, like we said, her convictions and her belief in her faith. But it's like, in that moment, she is given something which to her represents.
Like, she holds it like a goddamn teddy bear. Like, it's just, it's so tender the way she holds this thing that it's just, it brings me to tears.
I mean, the entire execution sequence is it's fascinating to watch something that successfully provides the weight of that I feel is usually like, you know, the crucifixion. Like the weight of the crucifixion is at hand in this sequence, which makes sense because that is what it is ostensibly, right? Mm-hmm. And then, you know, after the flames have risen up to the top of the pole, you get that shot of the fire at the top and the guard's tower out of focus in the background. And there's just like three men watching this happen. I mean, even that like isn't necessarily the most like gorgeous composition, and yet is also affecting of just like, I don't know something about it. I don't know. But...
I agree. I fully agree. And you talking about like the weight that this thing has at the end, like I've seen so many different films that feature somebody getting burned alive. You know, I've seen films that have people tied to a stake, and it's just like there's a particular vocabulary that exists within it of flames are lit. We cut to like a zoom medium wide from a distance, and the flames are in the foreground and they're in the background, and the flames come higher up on the camera, and then we cut to a wide where the whole thing's engulfed and you can't see anything anymore. It's just a pillar of fire and you can't see any particular figure, right?
We're avoiding seeing a body burn.
Yes, and like and seeing that, and like you said, just watching like how it keeps cutting back to it at various states of uprightness, and then slowly lean forward as the ropes burn and the body decays.
Chills. It's frightening,
horrifying. It's so deeply upsetting, but like absolutely appropriate to the emotion the scene is going for, right? And like it carries a weight that I don't think I've ever seen a similar scene have, because it like it's unflinching. It says, no, you're going to look at this. You're going to look at this awful thing that happened, because it happened, and it happened a lot. And this is what it was. And it's like, it's just, deeply, deeply moving.
And the fire of it all, and the fact that this is a film that was burned twice, and the lead actress was eventually, you know, she was outcast and then, you know, eventually cremated, and just like, there's so much fire here. And that is just very interesting to me. My review ended up sounding quite, I don't know, there's potential that it's pretentious, but I did enjoy writing it, of just like, Joan of Arc was burned, and yet her story survived, and therefore she survives. And it's like, this film was burned twice, and yet a prince survived, therefore this film survives. Yeah. It's like all of these people were in this movie, and it was its own kind of suffering, right, to make. And it's an art form that was literally playing with fire in both, you know, culturally and career-wise, like professionally, and also literally it's nitrate film, so it's literally playing with fire. Yeah. And it survives, and therefore their art and their work and these people survive. And I mean, your review said it first. I forgot that your review already talked about immortality when I wrote my review.
I'm sure several others have.
But I've had a couple conversations in the last week about film as immortality and art as a form of survival. And I think that this film speaks to that so well in so many different ways.
I agree. I fully agree. Beautifully put.
Keeping an eye on the clock, Parker.
Yes.
Do we need to do criteria?
Let's hop into criteria. Is there any other final things you want to mention about the movie?
No, I think I covered everything.
Great. I think I did as well.
Great. Okay. Have historical and technical relevance.
I mean, look, it is number 46 on the Letterboxd Top 500.
Actually, I do want to talk about that. It's number 46 on Letterboxd Top 500. It's number 21 on Sight and Sound.
The new one,
of 2022.
The 2022.
Before that, it was number 7 in 1952 and 1972. It was number 10 and 6, and depending on the critics list or the director's list, in 1992, and it was number 9 in 2012. So within 10 years, it dropped significantly from 9 to 21. That being said, can't do too bad at 21.
No.
And this is one of the rare films we've covered on this show that is on the Vatican's
list
of
Vatican
important
list.
films, compiled in 1995. This one, of course, under the category of religion.
Yep.
Other films really quick that we've covered that are on the Vatican film list: It's a Wonderful Life, Metropolis, The Wizard of Oz, Fantasia, Citizen Kane, and 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Good company.
Good company, for sure. And something I thought was really interesting. Have you heard about Expo 58?
I've not.
Do you know about this? Mm-mm. So Expo 58 was kind of a World's Fair in Paris. I believe it was in Paris. I could be wrong. Someone correct me in your head if you know the answer. The event offered the occasion for the organization by thousands of critics and filmmakers from all over the world of the first universal film poll in history.
Oh.
So this was in 1958 in France. As part of this World's Expo, this World's Fair, they invited critics and filmmakers from all over the world to make a list of the best films of all time. So this was like the first global poll, right? Wow. And Joan of Arc Passion of Joan of Arc 1928 placed fourth, behind Bicycle Thieves at 3, The Gold Rush at 2, and Battleship Potemkin at 1.
Oh, there you go.
So just a reminder that we should probably at some point fucking talk about
We should probably do
Thieves.
Potemkin. We should probably.
So, and, you know, of course.
And Bicycle Thieves.
And I have a gripe with Bicycle Thieves for no reason, anyway. So, yeah, I mean, it has one hell of a legacy.
It absolutely
one heaven
does.
of a legacy.
Yeah, it is remarkable. And, like, another huge point in this movie's corner in this particular criteria category, I think, is like this film is like the single defining legacy of Falconetti, like as an actress. And, you know, and obviously she had a storied theater career. That is where her true love and passion was. But that, you know, and I say this as somebody who loves theater. I'm a semi-professional theater actor myself. I have an undergraduate degree in it. Like, I love theater and I will always love theater. And yet there is something to be said about like that immortality lasting aspect that comes with film, of capturing a performance as a moment in time that will live forever, you know? And she does. Falconetti will never die. Like, she exists here forever and has existed for almost 100 years now. And it is still just as affecting the day that it was shot, you know? And I think that I can't think of many other films that are such a pure capturing of a single human being who lived on this earth.
Yes.
And then left nothing else.
Yes. And also, not counting your and left nothing else, that also applies to Joan of Arc about this movie.
Yeah.
Because of the sheer power and weight of Falconetti's performance.
Totally.
Like, yeah. I mean, yeah. Let's give it the
point. I think it got the point. I think it got the point.
And how well do you think it's doing what it's trying to do?
It's pretty damn flawlessly. Like truly, like I give this movie 4.5 only because I don't like Dreyer, and I think that like.
And as you were talking, I was like, I know what Parker's 4.5 is.
Yes, it's fully just that. Everything she is doing, everything about the cinematography, like I am so in love with this movie.
Yes.
I just think if you're a good director, you don't need to abuse your actors. And I'm going to die on that hill.
It's the Kubrick rule.
Yes,
it's the Parker Rawlins Kubrick rule.
That's right.
Which is, if you're an asshole, automatic half-star off your 5-star movie. Fuck you.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, I think this point, I think this is doing what it's trying to do. Whatever this movie's trying to do, it still hits exactly the same.
Yeah.
100 years later.
It is giving a non-religious person a religious experience. I think it's doing what it's trying to do.
So we're going to go and give that the point. And do you like it?
Yeah, I do. Like, it makes me weep. Like, it gets me very emotional.
Yes, same. I mean, I emotionally connected with the hell out of this.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a clean sweep.
Yep.
Do we need to take a step back?
No.
Do we need to do a pendulum shot?
Not even slight. I know. I'm sorry.
Okay,
and
it's not just because we're short on time.
If Orson Welles is moved by being introduced to Joan of Arc, just meeting her, I think he would say it's better.
Oh man, you're right. Yes, and yes, and so I'm going to have you say it, Parker.
All right. The Passion of Joan of Arc is better than Citizen Kane.
Heck yeah.
Woo!
Feeling a little more religious. Going to censor myself a little. I have great news for you, Parker.
Mm-hmm.
I have great news. It's time once again for Parker to finally watch a movie he's never seen before.
Woo-hoo!
Especially one that I have seen.
Oh.
This rarely happens.
Mm-hmm.
So good news for you, good news for me. It's The Red Shoes.
Yes.
We're finally tackling Powell and Pressburger. What did I call fans of Powell and Pressburger the other day? Or I called them something.
You had something.
I'll find something. Right now, anyway, I'm really excited to watch The Red Shoes
I'm really looking
again.
forward to it.
I'm excited for you to meet the dastardly foppish French Christopher Nolan. Is how I think of
hell
him.
Yeah,
so
I
look forward to that. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Thanks,
and we will
everyone.
see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.